Hi everyone, I'm FIDE Master Vladimir Chernikov and it's my first solo video about this Candidates 2024 held in Toronto. So we'll take a look at the top 5 moves that have been played in this tournament so far, in my opinion, and let's see if you can guess it as well as me. So, let's start directly, straight to the point. First game is between Jan Nepomniachtchi and Vidit Santosh Gujrathi, and now bishop e8 was a mistake, as the bar reflects. So let's see why it move is so bad and how white can win. So here white have very brilliant move. I just put it here as top 5 because I think it's quite easy to find. It just looks beautiful. So what's basically going on in this position? White try to promote the pawn, and the problem is that black has a counterplay in the queen side. Rook can take on b2, knight later on c3, etc. So, for instance, if white were to play something like knight g7, let's say, after probably bishop check, king goes here, take, and rook b2, game goes on, so white is probably better, but it's not clear how to win because the a3 and c3 pawns are two weaknesses. There is always chances with rook b3, with pawn to b4, to remove some pieces from the board. So, in this case, that's what was black hoping for. But the problem in this position is that white has this brilliant move. You can pause the video and guess it yourself. So well, move is rook takes d5, and what's going on? So bishop takes knight, and looks like it will be happening the same. Bishop sooner or later will be attacked, etc. But bishop retreats to c1, just because of this it works, guarding the pawn. I mean, move is quite easy itself, but the brilliance is that this rook is really trapped. It's true to say that Vidit is the one who himself trapped it before, because his rook were in b5. As I remember, he played rook b3, followed by b5, and rook gets stuck in this b3 square forever, basically. And here there were some moves played, but position is actually resignable because after, let's say, bishop g6 that was played in the game, just king went to e5. Before was a try, but in few moves white just end up winning because just bishop doesn't have a square where to go, and king f7, and it's unavoidable. Rook takes d7 and e8 the promotion move. And also, if this is rook f3 check, looks like it's something good, but after king e6, exactly the same perfect bishop covers the e3 check, so there is no draw for black in this position. So that was our 5th rank of the list. Let's go to number 4. And this is a game between Gukesh and Nijat Abasov. So first and last player of the tournament. Gukesh won the tournament and Abasov finished in the last place with a very bad play. So here's the moves that the chess.com engine doesn't reflect like a brilliant move or something like that. But for me it is. It's just positional move, so you can try to pause and fight yourself, but don't try to look for much tactics. Search for a positional move that white have here. And okay. The move is queen to c2. Okay, why this move is so strong? Looks like it's just typical move with the queen, but it has a lot of ideas behind it. So let's show you. First of all, black here kinda have no plan. If white doesn't move, if white doesn't make mistake, black doesn't have any plan. Let's say rook e8, very natural move, runs into rook takes c8. Knight d6 to prepare rook e8. Obviously it's impossible because of rook takes. So now black has no plan, but white has some different ideas. For example, g4 is quite an interesting move, but here, because of this queen, there is some knight g3 ideas, and because queen is attack, f takes and queen takes f3. So let's say this is option number 1. It's not that queen c2 threatens g4, because still there is a d6 square for the knight. Let's imagine queen were in c2 and some random move. After g4, knight d6, still, it's not with the tempi, but still the knight is hanging. But in future it can be interesting, so it's point number 1. Second idea is that we're targeting this a4 pawn as well. So this rook on a8 gets kind of stuck to the pawn. It's not easy to overprotect it. Let's say if you were to play b5, then there's rook takes e6 at some point. You cannot do this. If you want to have rook d8 or e8 trying to recover e-file, you can try, but queen takes a4 and white end up having the extra pawn. And also always, let's say if white does nothing and slowly improve position, keeping queen on e2, there's also very interesting plans that engine suggests that is doubling rooks on d-file and follow by d4, so trying to please activate rook via d-file. White has control on the open file on e-file, right? So black say, well, then we'll hold on d-file, we'll open d-file, and we'll equalize the position this way. So queen c2 also caused the problem tying it here, and also threatening the knight. So after this, it's very complicated. Plus, additionally, in the game was played this move c4, a very strong idea as well. Looks like, yeah, you can say that black wanted to open the d file, so why white does it? Just because after d4 this pawn becomes a weakness, and if black were to take after queen c4, there's all the things here, too many discoveries, knight e5 idea, all these squares are weak, king is weak, and white end up busting here. So queen c2 is very multifunctional move, top 4 for sure. Let's go to our top 3, and the famous player Hikaru Nakamura in this case. So his game versus Fabiano Caruana, another American guy. I don't know if you know, but Nakamura won, I think, 4 or something like that games in a row with white versus Caruana, and this is exactly what happened here. So the position is around equal, obviously. Black looks like it has some activity. Here white has isolated pawn, and it looks like black is completely fine. But there is a very strong move for white here. You can try to find it if you want. And okay, let's go on. Move is h4. So this is a positional pawn sacrifice that didn't help, at least it goes well in combination with the second move as well. So first of all, I should mention that here both players have around 30 minutes on the clock. And this move, unexpected move, in general, move that oblige your opponent to think is quite good in this position to make him in tight trouble. So if queen h4, let's see, is it free pawn or not? Oh well, rook goes to e4 now. The knight is pinned, that's easy to see, so only move is g5 in order to not lose piece in 1. And the problem is that after rook a e1, black queen is completely stuck. It cannot go absolutely anywhere, even though it goes to g4, then there is no square where to go. Bishop is kind of tight, as there's some knight f5 ideas over there, and white has clear plan. It can go like even to b4, try to eating pawns, like white can just use the position while black queen, excuse me, just traps. There is also a very weird idea of going knight h5 here with bishop d1. Let's say, and bishop d7, if black say, well, let's try to unpin all these things. So after rook takes e8, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, and bishop takes e8, after move knight f5, the queen has nowhere to go. If queen goes to g4, knight h6, it's typical double attack. So queen looks like have to go here, and now this move bishop d1 helps. Queen forced to move to z square, and a knight e7 finish the game. And if black were to put pawn on g4, obviously there is extra knight for white. So the pawn is poisoned. Literally black cannot take this pawn. That's what Caruana did. He played queen to d5, and now comes another very strong move. Not that much positionally, but even though it's the best choice of the engine, but rook e4, again forcing black into some calculation. So knight is under attack. And obviously knight g2 idea is always there, you can try to calculate it. What happens? King obviously cannot recapture knight, right, because that's obvious thing. f5, rook is pinned, and black gets extra material. So it means that black needs to calculate what's happened. Why I cannot take, why white allows it. So the idea of white is to play move queen c3 or queen d3. I think queen c3 was a little bit stronger. And the point of it is that now knight has no way to escape. And only move is bishop h3 according to engines, because since it can become a threat, but also white can just totally ignore it, play king h2 followed by rook g1, then take it with rook, so there will not be any more this pin, and there's too much pressure over here. All the white pieces are active and looking towards black's king. So that's why after queen c3, well, engine says that bishop h3 can be played, and after king h2 there's some knight f4 retreating move. You see, actually rook cannot take here because of queen g2 checkmate, but it's all too complicated. And also after rook g1, black is objectively worse once again. It's another extra pawn, not the one taken on h4, but the one taken on g2, but it's the same story. White is too active in this position. So that's why it's strong move. Moreover, it really worked out. Like black Fabiano Caruana sought here for quite a while. He went knight g6, and he ended up losing in some moves. Actually here this position after queen b4, we were showing to you that here b5 was a big mistake by Fabiano Caruana that lost game into moves. To find out why, you can check our first video together with international master Alireza Praggnanandhaa here in the link. And we move on to the top 2. Well, again, Hikaru Nakamura again with white pieces, but this time he just completely lost. f4 was a bad move. Okay, it's just because of engine. In general, even without playing f4, position of white were quite bad, and I guess everyone knows why, right? I should point that there's 3 pieces that haven't make any move in this game so far, and white king as well is wide open, and black pieces are very active. So why 4 is a mistake. Here we did play one very strong move. Once again, you can try to pause the video and find out why. Done. So move is bishop to b6, double exclamation mark by chess.com, and totally deserved. So this is a pin and piece sacrifice. Well, it's temporary piece sacrifice since white can't take the knight, because after knight d5 this piece will be recovered 100%. If you try to defend it, let's say with queen d3, or let's say right after queen g5 there's another attacker here, and if you're too stubborn, right, there's can be knight f4 ideas, can be pawn to f4 ideas. It's all pin, piece recovered, and completely white is busted over here. So bishop b6, it kind of the move that speaks for itself, because now I cannot even suggest any smart idea for white in this case, right? It looks like knight's falling. If you do nothing, let's say you say, well, I do not care, I play, for instance, king h1, right? After the same move, knight d5, there's queen h4, oops, I'm so bad in pointing arrows, queen h4, there is g1 square, kind of mates, and black is just completely winning. To illustrate you what attempt try Hikaru, he played here king f2, with idea just to overprotect this knight, this ugly way, and then rook h1 check, pawn takes, queen g5, but I mean, it's obvious that, yeah, piece finally ends up recovered, and yeah, white still have all these pieces in the starting position. Looks like a typical puzzle move of the beginner. So this was top 2, and let's go to the best, in my opinion, move. Not the most beautiful one, probably, but by Praggnanandhaa, the prodigy from India. He didn't won this tournament, but I think he came the best with the best preparation over all the players, and he won versus poor Nijat Abasov again. So here white to move and to win the game almost on the spot. The move that is strong was knight to d7. Let's understand why, right? So first of all, to all my students, I always say that the best move is the one that, except of one obvious idea that it has another hidden trick. So it's easy that opponent will spot the main move, right? And he'll even stop to thinking. So we say, for example, what is the obvious thing? Let's say we can see that knight f6 might be a fork. First of all, picking up the pawn. Also, it might be for playing rook f6. So if it's double attack on f7 and the rook, and if rook takes, knight takes, white has 2 connected pass pawns and obviously winning the game, right? So it looks like, what's special in this move, right? I play king g7 and I stop both ideas, rook f6 and knight f6 in the same time. That's what black did in this game, and this was a fatal mistake. According to engine, once again, the position was lost anyway, but bishop c1 was a weird move. Now we'll understand why. So after king g7 we can see the idea. Really, knight doesn't go to f6, neither does a rook. But rook a5, exclamation for me, it's double exclamation mark point, it's end of the game, it's GG. Why? First of all, it leads again to the fourth trait of rook. If rook were to take, obviously black is losing. In the end, I'll show you one bonus position, one study that made by Reti, famous player of the past, where knight dominates the bishop. So here, white is threatening to go here. Obviously, king is not on time, so he needs to stop it with bishop, and there is literally any single way to do it. If you hold bishop e3, you captured by pawn. If you hold bishop b8, you captured by knight. So you need to reach one of these squares. c5 never will be possible. b6 neither. So only ways to go here, but you can't even do this because here knight captures and here pawn captures as well. So just no way to stop the pawn from promotion, but that's quite easy. So black tried the only logical attempt, that is king to g6, but now it's the same problem. If white were to take directly on f5, that is a drawish move, just because black is on time to stop the pawns. But white thought very practically, right? He played move a4. So rook can't escape from the trade. Yes, it cannot go anywhere in any case. So if he trades, happens absolutely the same story. By including king g6 and a3, nothing changed. Pawn still goes down the board. So black needs to make some other move. Okay, g3 were tried, and now rook takes on f5 already wins. Why? Just because this pawn is one square ahead. Very important thing, right? When you're playing the game, move a4 is easy to find just in terms of logic. I always suggest to my students, in this position, you can take directly and calculate. Let's imagine you're in time trouble. But okay, Move a4, white helps. You see that you do later absolutely the same thing. This move doesn't go anywhere from you, but with definite improvement of position, because black cannot have any improvement in this position, right? Bishop d2 or something, it's all too late because pawns are marching over the board. So you win something already with this move, and now you can already calculate and correct. Rook takes a5 takes, and then move a5, and here after g takes a6, black just resign once again because this knight is so powerful. It's true that f2 pawn doesn't exist anymore, you can see, so bishop e3 is possible move, but now knight is as strong that it goes to c5, defended by his pawn on b4, and a7-8 is promotion. So that's why it's so brilliant actually to point out that in the start of exercise you see that here king g6 was a mistake. Excuse me, it was here? Yeah, king g7, right? Because now you understand bishop c1 was suggested to give extra square for the rook. After rook a5, move is rook f3, so it's not trade of rooks, and black is actually completely fine here, but position is better still for white. Just instead of rook a5, he just to go knight f6 and take the pawn, and obviously it must be winning for white. So I hope you enjoyed it. Now I'll show you the bonus position that I created here. Let me switch over here, and that's it. So this is a very famous study made by Reti, where white is winning in one move. Try to find move. Here you can take more time, it's very difficult to see, take around 5 minutes. But okay, meanwhile we go on. So move that wins here is brilliant move king to h1. You can understand like why king goes to the square. So actually it's a zugzwang for black. Let's try to do. First of all, king is impossible to move. King cannot go to these 3 squares, right? He can just go to b4, c4, d4, d5 and d6. And in case of any of these moves, it goes out of this like pawn square, and after a6, obviously king is too late, pawn promotes, and bishop cannot come neither. So king, it means, cannot be moved. If to d6, then it's losing again by simple fork, knight f5, and okay, king d5 we can try, a6 we can still enter to stop the pawn, but there is knight holding the square, so it's GG. Well, so king cannot be moved, but can bishop be moved? And here we see why this position is so dominant for white. Knight completely wins versus the bishop. Let's try to find any single square. If bishop c1, there is knight b3 fork. If bishop d2, knight b3 fork. If bishop e3, obviously pawn grabs. If bishop f4, knight e6. Bishop g5, knight e6 again. Bishop g7, knight e6. And bishop f8, knight e6, same fork. So yeah, later just required to pick up this pawn on h2 and slowly promote f2 pawn, and white's completely winning. For me, it's one of the most beautiful studies that have been made, and I enjoyed it a lot. The same as I hope that you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch up in the next videos for more candidate tournaments videos or other topics. Thank you.